When Marty was a child back in the 90s, she tells Monsters Among Us that she was a fan of ventriloquist Edgar Bergen and his dummy sidekick Charlie McCarthy. She says that when her father came across a ventriloquist doll as he wanted through a small magic shop located outside of Santa Rosa, California, he decided to buy it for her birthday. While ringing up the sale, Marty says the cashier gave her father weird vibes and said to him, "You know, when you put your hand inside the doll, he's going to come alive." Laughing off the comment, he brought the dummy home to his daughter. According to Marty, she was over the moon when his dad gave her the doll, saying, "I was so happy when I got that doll. I was obsessed, but before long, strange things began happening, though impossible because the doll's head was made of hard plastic." She says its expression would change, including his smile. Worried something would happen to her precious dummy, Marty's family shut it away in a cupboard most nights. One night, she and her family were awakened by the pitter patter of steps in their living room. Thinking it was the dog or another family member, they went to look. No one was there except for the doll who was sitting on the couch. We remember specifically we always put it away because I loved that doll so much that I took care of it. Marty says on the podcast other strange occurrences began happening while Marty and her dad were away. Her uncle was alone in the house. The uncle says he heard Marty's father calling his name from the living room, even though he wasn't home. When he went to look, he found the doll once again sitting on the couch and no one else. All of our family was pretty much scared of the doll. Marty says people would start hearing their names being called and we would hear walking at night, so we just decided we need to get rid of it. Being Mexican and religious, Marty says her parents wanted to burn the doll in case it was demonic. They put it on the grill, and according to Marty, it wouldn't burn. This doll would not go up in flames at all. What's over? They tried cutting it up with a knife but were unsuccessful. Finally, they threw it in the trash can. After the garbage was collected, Marty's dad went to retrieve the bin. In it, the doll. To rid themselves of the dummy, they dug a hole in the backyard, then filled it with cement. Marty and family have long since moved away, but she says they still think about the doll and the possibility that eventually it finds one of us. On Monsters Among Us, a caller named Joe tells of moving to Georgia from California in the late 1990s. Soon after, he says his brother followed him to the Peach State and rented an old house built in the 1800s. It looked nice from the outside. It did not feel good from the inside, Joe says during the podcast. According to Joe, things seemed off from the moment he helped his brother move into the home. I walked into the house and went, "Oh man." The hair stood up on the back of my neck and I just felt ill at ease. "Like this place isn't cool at all," he says moments later. While carrying items into the bedroom, Joe says he heard whispering. A heated whispering, almost an argument between two people that seemed to be hovering in the top of the ceiling area of the room. He adds Joe ran out of the room and asked his brother if he'd felt something off about the house. Too, his brother had picked up on the vibe but assured Joe that things would be alright. "As long as you're good," Joe says he told his brother, "I'm not good, but I'm going to help you. I'm going home and I probably won't come back here." And sure enough, Joe's brother began experiencing unusual occurrences in the house. The most alarming, however, was when Joe says his young niece was found wandering alone on a busy road with her head up in the air. Police and other agencies were called to investigate the incident, and when asked, his brother's 4-year-old explained that she'd gone for a stroll with the old lady that lives here. She just wanted to go for a walk, so we went for a walk. Given that the front door was too heavy for a 4-year-old to open by herself, No one could understand how she was able to leave the house. According to Joe, his niece said the old lady opened the door, then we petted the dog for a little bit, then went for a walk. She was so genuine and honest at 4 years old that he couldn't call her liar, Joe says during the podcast. New Year's Day 1995. I was in the middle of third year university and a bunch of friends had come down to visit me and my roommate for the festivities. We were all pretty hangover from drinking the night before and went out for the usual nice day out, a bit chilly. I did not feel so good post greasy breakfast hungover stroll around the neighborhood. Two of these friends were twin brothers. One of them we hung out with all the time, the others were just met for the first time. He was pretty normal the night before joining in the fun, but on this day, we were all hanging around a local basketball court, shooting hoops with an old basketball we'd found in the grass. And this twin brother kept following me around all over the place with the creepiest grin I'd ever seen in my life, staring right into the nether regions of my soul the whole time. I'd back away and join the group again, and he'd keep following me around. When we were walking back to the apartment, it was just me and him walking down the sidewalk behind the group. And he moved over in front of me, stared at me with that creepy look again, and fell down to his knees as if to worship me or something. I didn't know what to do. Hey, buddy, you all right? We're heading back now, right? And so on. He wouldn't say anything, he'd just be there on his knees, looking up at me with a clenched face and squinted eyes, as if he were looking directly into the sun or something. Later that day, my roomies said he was tripping balls. So I thought nothing of it and moved on with my life. A few weeks later, we got a phone call from the twin brother we usually hung out with, and it turned out that this other twin brother went over to his aunt's place with a knife and stabbed her 14 times. She didn't die, but still pretty bad. He had even called the police before going because he knew he was going to do it, but he couldn't stop himself from doing it. Because the voices and so on. The ensuring court case was widely covered in the media as this was a relatively smaller community where this sort of things doesn't happen on a regular basis. I was reading one of the articles. One of the testimonies was that this twin brother was severely schizophrenic and was hearing voices in his head. He believed to his very bones that his aunt was the devil and that he had been commanded by God to go and kill her. So, who was this God that told him to go kill her? Well, as the newspaper article described, it was a guy in a group he hung out with on New Year's Day. It didn't take me long to realize that he was talking about me. This was 22 years ago. I know for a fact it was a mental illness, but just knowing that I had somehow commanded him to go kill his aunt stays with me to this day.